everybody, welcome to Badass Mining Company. I am the walrus. This is the egg.
Awesome.
So, apparently, there was some, hold on, I gotta read this. Somebody said something earlier. Apparently there's some kind of a sporting competition that went on today. I'm not too sure about that, but, go sports. So, how are you doing?
Today?
How are you doing today?
Yeah. So who am I today?
You're the egg.
I'm the egg.
Yeah. Remember all the eggies?
You're the walrus. I'm the egg.
Yep.
Okay. I'm oval. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, how are you doing today?
So hi everyone. Oh, I'm doing fine.
Well, that's good.
I did my laundry. I am done.
Yeah, I drooled on my pants earlier, so I guess that counts as doing laundry.
Okay.
So, yeah, today is the only palindrome day that we have out of the year, which is 02022020. It's the same forward as it is backwards. I think it's cool, but I'm a nerd, so. Yeah, 02022020. Woo! Okay, and even though we read it off yesterday, gold
So
and silver has not.
The two.
What? Huh?
I said I didn't say anything. Go ahead. I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so even though we read it off yesterday, it hasn't changed because the market has not been open. Gold is at $1,589.70 an ounce, and silver is at $18.11 an ounce. And the metal, of which I dare not speak its name, which is
Platinum.
Is at $9.63. It went down $19 within 6 hours. So, market's being manipulated. I went and double checked how strong the US dollar is right now, and it's kind of a weird anomaly. The Canadian dollar is actually dropping like a stone in a lake, and the US dollar is staying pretty strong. So, usually that doesn't happen when gold goes up. Usually the dollar goes down, and that's not happening this time. It's not staying completely at zero, but it is staying pretty close to being even. It's not dropping in value nearly as fast as what it normally does in this situation. So, anyway, that is what's going on with that. If you guys are invested in gold or silver, congratulations, because it's doing spectacularly. And this pad better shut up. I already told you to knock it off. Stop it. So, anyway, yeah, so that's it for the precious metal prices. So, now we've got same day, different year. What has happened this day in years gone by? We're going to let Tan start off on hers because she has 5, I have 5. None of them are the same because before each show we read off the years to see if we have any duplicates. which we did have a duplicate today. She took the good one.
I took the good one. So you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so this one touches our heart very deeply. So in 1925, a major epidemic of diphtheria hit Nome. And the only thing that
Nome?
they needed
Wait a minute.
was
Nome? Where's Nome?
serum.
Where's Nome? Nome what? Nome
Nome, Alaska.
Garden Nome?
Nome, Alaska. No, Nome, Alaska, up at the top of the world.
Oh.
So anyway, they were trying to figure out how to get this medicine to the children. Well, there was this great man, his name was Gunnar Kassem, and Gunnar had a sled dog team. Packed it all up with the diphtheria medicine and headed to Nome and got it to them and saved a multitude of lives. Your turn.
Now, I just want to add, Nome is primarily known for gold mining. There really isn't anything else going on in Nome other than gold mining. So, just wanted to throw that in. That is like Mecca for gold miners. That's where all gold miners want to end up going for vacation. Alrighty, so in 1494, Columbus begins the practice of using Indians as slaves. Again, I'm not really too sure how they attach February 2nd to this, but they did. So, Columbus.
Well, okay, so I'm going to elaborate on that because this is one of the things that we did homeschooling with Kian, and that's our son. And everyone celebrated Columbus, and I don't, because he was a terrible man. He did not discover America. America is named after a gentleman, which his name is American, I believe. But anyway, that's what America got named after. He was the one who discovered America. Well, did they think? We all know better.
That's a favorite theory, but we already know. See, here's the thing: is they've already proven over and over again that nobody really discovered America, because, you know, people from all over the world have been coming here for way prehistory. So you really can't say one person or one group of people discovered Jack, because it's like saying, I love the comedian Eddie Izzard. He was talking about Columbus showing up at Plymouth Rock, and he goes, "Oh, we've discovered this vast country that has nobody living in it." And the Indians come up to him and go, "Excuse me, as I was saying, no one lives here, and we put this flag and plant it and claim this in the name of Spain." The Indians are like, "No, dude, this is our home, you know." And he goes, "I'm sorry, do you have a flag?" So, yeah, at that point, Columbus was being a pretentious jerk and decided that he was going to...
He was always a pretentious jerk.
Yeah, so
one of the things that we learned about Columbus, and this was one of the things I brought up to the school, that I didn't want my son celebrating Columbus Day because I'm part Native American, so he made slaves out of them. He also, when they ran away, would cut off their feet, and they couldn't run.
Yep.
And he didn't care. So my idea of Columbus is jerk.
Okay, we've had enough of this happy story. Let's move on to the next date. What do you got for us?
Oh, for all you baseball fans. Okay, I am not a baseball fan, but I thought that this would be a nice addition.
I knew you
In
were going to pick this
1936
one. I did not grab this one because I was like, it's a football game today. She's going to throw a baseball in there. I know she is.
I am, yes, because I'm not a football fan either. So in 1936, Babe Ruth was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yay!
And that is actually one of 3 baseball-related stories that happened for February 2nd. That is just probably the top.
Yeah.
That's the top of the inning.
Yeah, I got it. Your turn.
Okay, so my next one is 1848. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo formally ends the Mexican War. Yay! I like it when war stops.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like very seldom.
So yeah, I figured I'd throw that
Okay,
one
so
in since
I
that's
got
become
another,
part of our
I got
culture now.
another one.
Okay.
Okay, so we know in 1942 that Hitler was overthrown, right?
Right.
Well, in 1943, World War II German armies surrendered to the Red Army, which is the Soviet Union, in Stalingrad. And the reason why is because they beat the crap out of them. So that's what happened in 1943 on February 2nd.
Okay. My next one is, and this one, I know this seems ridiculous, but you've got to understand a lot of the stories that I do have to do with fake news, and this is like the beginning of the big problem. So in 1870, the press agencies Havas, Reuter, and Wolf sign an agreement whereby between them they can cover the whole world. And this is so that they can control the news content that goes to different regions. And it was definitely one of the inspirations for the SSI or CIA's Mockingbird, and it's just a very, very deep disinformation ploy that they've been using for a very, very long time, and they still continue to use to this day. So, yeah, back in 1870, good times. It was a nice year. It was a very warm year.
Very warm. Okay, so we're going to get closer to our time and period. So in 2008, there was a hostile bid for Yahoo.
Yahoo!
Microsoft made an unsolicited offer for Yahoo for $31 a share, which was more than what it is. And they were bound determined that they were going to take over Yahoo, which they did. So, anyway, Yahoo!
Yahoo!
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so we have next. Oh, this is a biggie. Okay, so this is closer to our time too, but it's still 30 years ago, so.
Okay.
President de Klerk of South Africa lifts a 30-year ban on leading anti-apartheid group, the African National Congress, known as ANC. He also stated the jailed leader of the ANC, Nelson Mandela, would be released. That was a big thing 30 years ago.
Yep. Well, he was a good man. Okay, so 2010. This is so important, so very important. In 2010, Kraft Foods took over Canterbury for $18.9 million. I know.
Now that's
So
some walking around money.
Hey, you bet. That's that bunny cracking those eggs.
Yep.
So when you look at it, just know that when you buy your Easter eggs and it says Cadbury, it's actually made by Kraft.
Yep. Okay, and my last one, I'm going to go back in time a little bit here because I had to readjust my list because somebody took one of my dates. So we're going to go back to 1690. That's 1690. 1690. The very first paper money is issued in America. So that was our first paper money was issued in 1690. And
I wonder how big the notes were. Were they as big as the ones they had in England?
Actually, they had different sizes. The money that was issued was varied size depending on the bank that was issuing it in whatever city it was being issued. It wasn't standardized by the Federal Reserve until a lot later, but they did get down to a fairly standard size note by the late 1700s, early 1800s, which is a little bit bigger than the one that we have now, not a whole lot. So, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I didn't know, because I know in England, back during the day, it was like they looked like notebook paper. They were so large.
Yeah. I've got we've got a special guest that's going to be on here. I've got to get him on. I don't have video on him because his connection is like horrible. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's see. Anyway, let's see if we can get him. Let's try to make this thing. Oh, is that him? Let's try to make this.
What the hell is taking so damn long?
Martin, you there? Can you hear me?
Hey, what the hell, man? I told you not to call me by my name.
Sorry, I thought you didn't want me to use your last name.
Just call me Drunkminer.
Well, it says right here, Martin Drunkminer.
There you go again. Why don't you just give my social security number and home address
Sorry.
out too?
Okay.
Showing up at my doorstep.
Please, Drunkminer, I hear you. I got you some history.
I got some history.
Okay.
You know,
just go ahead.
I just don't want to be interrupted
Oh,
no more.
Okay.
Don't be giving out no more of my information.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so there's like this spirit of the mines. It's called shooting. Now, the legend of shooting is mainly in the mining towns of Donbass in the Ukraine. And that's a little place over there in the, in the Europe area.
Yeah, we know where Ukraine is.
Euro Mountains.
Yeah.
And then you go up in the north up there, and you can hear about how the spirit of the mines, shooting, is usually good, but it can be really bad too. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's just, well, they explain it, they explain it like, the nickname, Shubin, who's actually, miner, his soul, he walks around in a fur coat at the bottom of the mines.
A fur coat.
With a torch in his hand, and he burns off all the gas.
Burns off the gas. Yeah, that's a good thing.
And, but see, another explanation where it came from is, he was a cruel miner master who killed all his workers underground.
That's no good.
And, that's a bad thing.
definitely a bad
Well,
thing.
you know, some of the stories about shooting, they're pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
According to one story, shooting is the ghost of a dead miner, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And he had a gift for predicting collapses and methane emissions.
Well, that's a
And
good gift.
methane is that gas that explodes. It makes people go boom.
Yes, it does.
Therefore, before each shift, the master would go down to the mine and he felt something was wrong. He warned off the danger, and the name of the coal mine is called Spirit that comes up to help them in dangerous hour when they need him most. That's when he shows up.
Yeah.
Now, in the mining town, many stories go, people have seen the spirit with their own eyes. Once, when a man was in the mine, the lights went down. He was in complete darkness,
Huh.
and he couldn't find his way around. Couldn't find his way out. Anyway, he got really bummed out. He fell into depression. But all of a sudden, he saw lights far away, and the spirit drew close to him, holding a flashing beacon. The man was scared, but he just followed, and he was taken out of that labyrinth of darkness, back up to the surface. Now, some people say that was Shubin, and that was Shubin being good.
Yeah, it sounds like
Just
it.
depends on what kind of person he meets. So, you know, he meets somebody like me, he's like, you know, you can just keep your butt down there in the dark and find your own damn way out.
Okay, I think that's about all the time we have for this little story.
Alright, well, it's good to be here. See you you guys later. Bye.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Drunkminer. We appreciate you giving us your time and telling a little bit of history. That was interesting. Thank you. So what did
Thank you.
yes, that we'll have to have him back maybe a little more sober maybe so we can understand him.
I wanted to ask you what he was drinking.
From the sounds of it, maybe drain cleaner.
Very interesting person you found there.
Yeah, well, he knows his mining history, so.
Martin, huh?
Hey, apparently he doesn't want you using his first name, so we're just going to refer to him as Drunkminer, which is his last name, which you would think that you'd want to have more. Yeah, never mind. I'm not even going to try to make sense of that one, but you know, when you spend all day drinking kerosene, I guess yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So, do you want to go on with the holidays?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the holidays. What national holidays do we have?
Well, first I want. Okay, so first I want to say happy birthday to Farrah Fawcett. I know that she's not with us anymore, but she was every boy's dream, and every girl wanted to be like her. But today was her birthday, so we miss you. And
Well,
she was born in Corpus Christi, Texas.
well, she is definitely
So-
getting her wish out of life. The older she gets, the more weight she loses still. So,
Good. Okay, so if y'all don't know what today is Groundhog Day.
woo!
Okay. So, today is also Heavenly Hash Day.
Wait a minute, what?
Oh my goodness.
What is it?
Heavenly Hash Day. That is true. It is today.
Oh, Huh.
Heavenly Hash Day.
Heavenly Hash Day.
Ooh. Okay. Today is also Sled Dog Day, which makes all the sense in the world. Okay?
Okay.
But my favorite holiday, dump your significant jerk other.
And with that, you're calling the show to an end, right?
So, Mrs. Drunkminer, whoever you're out there, dump him. Or join him, one of the two.
I don't think there is a Mrs. Drunkminer. There might be an ex-Mrs. Drunkminer, but I'm fairly certain there's probably not a Mrs. Drunkminer. I'll ask him though. We can ask him the next time we have him on.
Next time. I don't know if I want to talk to him. He might want to carry me off.
That's true. You never can tell with that guy.
No. You just look and go, that one. So, anyway, that's our segment for today.
Yay! I'm making coffee.
I'm telling you. You're making, of course you are. Of course you are.
Of course
I can't imagine you not making coffee.
Yeah, I know, right?
So all you people out there, if you got a jerk for a significant other, dump him. Today's the day.
Today
or
is
her.
the day.
You can do her. Do her too.
The symphony of the grinder.
We all know what he's doing. Grinding his beats.
Yep. Grinding the goodness.
Okay. Oh, look, I got all these things on here. What is this one? This one is it going to let me do it? Oh, there I am. Hey, all you football fans. I'm on the field. I'm going to run you over.
Too funny.
So, there you go. Oh, but I like this one. It's got hearts. We're getting close to Valentine's Day. Yay.
So, did you happen to see any of the Super Bowl commercials?
Nope. Don't watch it.
You've got to see the Sam Elliott Doritos commercial.
Oh, really?
Oh
that
my
was a
God.
good one, huh?
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious, huh? I'll have to see that one.
Yeah, well, I don't know who the rapper is. He's they're in the middle of the street in an old west town, and you hear this rap music start playing, and it's a rap rendition to Old Town Road. And
Okay.
anyway, so the rapper's like doing fancy dance moves, and Sam Elliott's mustache does the worm, and starts doing other stuff, and then the rapper's on his horse, and the horse is high-stepping, and Sam Elliott turns around and looks at his horse, and his horse is like, So, yeah, it was pretty entertaining. I've always been a fan, like everybody else, I've been a fan of the Super Bowl commercials, and I give a rat's butt about the actual game. So
I like the commercials. I'm not into investing any money into any of the players. It's just not my deal, because I think there are other heroes out there that we have that are important, and I'm just not into the football scene or the baseball or basketball or any of it. Now, sled dogs and snow machiners, which we call sledders, snowboarders. All of those guys there, I think that they're really totally cool. And they're my heroes. But my biggest hero are miners. And I'm talking about guys who go out mining, not underage. Although, Shawn is underage.
Yeah, under the age of 200. Okay? 173 is no laughing matter, people.
No, I robbed the cradle.
Which makes her over 173. You just remember that.
Yep. What can I say? I didn't get this gray hair for nothing.
That's true. She paid a heavy price for that gray hair. So anyway, guys, we usually get into the serious stuff later on. I guess this is just as good a time as any. We've got a little bit of a epidemic that has popped its ugly little head up that I've been doing a lot of research on because there was too many weird things about it that just were very unsettling, and so I wanted to hear from actual scientists and doctors that were not treating. They're not like the ones in the ditches helping the sick. They're the ones that are actually studying the virus and studying all the traits of the virus. Now, the one thing about this outbreak, guys, and I put the links on my Facebook page, it gets really weird really fast. The company that has a patent, yes, I said a patent on this virus, their logo is the same logo as the Umbrella Corporation from Resident Evil. So, and it's being backed by Bill and Melinda Gates. Also, there was a scientist that just released a paper a couple days ago on the coronavirus talking about how there are 4 very unique genetic markers in the virus that are identical to HIV-1. So, and when they show the protein model, the HIV-1 is actually wrapped throughout the virus. So it has a extremely long longevity. It also proves that it was manufactured, and this thing was not just manufactured, but it was genetically manipulated from the original coronavirus that, oddly enough, the World Health Organization has already been conducting drills on since August of 2019. They just had the epicenter called as South America, and the animal that it came from was pigs, not bats. So it's amazing how just a couple of months later, we have that same virus rear its ugly head and start an epidemic right after they do the drills on how to deal with it. So, if you don't believe me, go ahead and Google, I believe it's called Event 201, and it is underneath official websites that are government. So, have fun with that. Event 201. Good times. So,
Yeah, it's a but they said it came from when they first came out, they said it came from snakes.
Yeah, but they
And I
changed
was
that.
like,
They changed that to bat soup, and
okay.
they actually have pictures of the guy that supposedly started this whole thing, which is amazing because it doesn't jive with any of the information that they've given. So they're just kind of making it up on the fly at this point, just like the picture that they released of this newly built hospital. It's amazing that this newly built hospital has the exact same background and exact same trees and exact same buildings surrounding it as a complex, an apartment complex that was built in China in 2010. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, fake picture.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's
I have to go back and look at it.
yeah, see, and this stuff, I don't trust anything that the Chinese have to say because, unfortunately, their politicians, their leaders, are held to a way stricter policy than what ours are. So if they are in charge while stuff like this is happening and it gets worse, then they're held responsible for doing their jobs or not doing their jobs. So they try to make everything look like, sunshines, rainbows, and unicorn farts.
Sorry, I had to put a different pair of glasses on.
That's okay, I'm going to grab my coffee.
Oh, so you guys wash your hands. Try not to breathe on each other.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. Let's start going through some of the common myths on how to protect your guys' selves. Okay?
Yeah.
Myth number 1. Microwaves do not kill bacteria or germs or anything. It's the heat that the microwave causes
No, they
is,
do. They kill the amino acid.
as I was saying, the microwaves actually don't kill the bacteria or the virus or the germs. It heats up whatever the medium is, and that heat kills the bacteria, the germs, and the viruses. Okay, so it's the same as boiling. You got to make sure whatever you're heating up gets up to 210 degrees. 212 is boiling point. Yeah, that's myth number 1. Microwaves do not make you safe. Heat makes you safe. Okay, do you have anything to add to that one?
Yeah, amino acids are what's killed in your microwave. And what are we needing? Amino acids. So use them sparingly.
Yep. Okay,
I
now,
mean, they're convenient.
myth number 2. Okay, masks only cover up 2 major orifices in your head. Okay? Now, I don't care what they say you cannot get this stuff through your ears. Okay, that's a bunch of crap. If you have a hole in your head and the virus can get in there and lodge itself in there, then guess what? It can spread. So,
Yeah,
if you're
you got
gonna wear a mask, make sure to wear goggles, protective eyewear. Make sure to wear something that's going to cover up your ear holes. Okay, if you have any open cuts, make sure to put Vaseline on them, something that's going to cover them up. Don't just stick a band-aid on there because that will actually trap bacteria underneath it. Make sure to put Neosporin or some other type of antiseptic underneath your band-aid to make sure any type of germs or viruses or bacteria that are up underneath there do not spread. Okay, so that is myth number 2, that a mask is going to protect you. No, a mask is not going to protect you by itself. Make sure that you get a decent mesh on your mask. Don't just get a dust mask. Dust masks are not going to do anything for you, okay, except for keep dust out. Get something that's got a small respirator in it, and you can tell the difference because there's a little button on the front of it. The mesh on the material is way thicker, and it's a one-way valve. So make sure that you get an appropriate mask. I've actually got a respirator, so if it gets so bad, I mean, I could walk out and have into a cloud of it and not be affected, but they're a little bit more expensive.
So does, yeah.
So
Kian's got one too.
yep. So do you got anything to add about the masks or eyewear or?
Wash your hands. Don't breathe on each other. And for God's sake, cover your mouth when you cough. Cough into your shirt. Cough into your arm. Don't cough into your hands because obviously you're going to spread it because you're going to touch something. Especially when you're looking at the, and I see people do this all the time. What's my PIN number? Ew. Yeah. I go through every day at work and wash down everything. And then I go through again every day at work and wash down everything. It's just, it amazes me how many mothers are out there and their kids are coughing like crazy. And then the mom, oh, really? Like, I want that? No, I don't want that.
Okay,
Stay home.
she just brought up
Stay home.
she just brought up a really good point that I want to touch on because this was something that I wasn't going to talk about, but this is something that's very important. Do not cover your mouth with your hand when you're coughing or sneezing. Don't cover your mouth or nose with your hand. Don't do it. Put your arm to where the inside of where your elbow bends. Put your arm over your mouth and nose to cover it that way because they've proven it. It keeps the spray down to within 3 feet. Okay, if you use your hand, this is kind of strange, but it makes a lot of sense. If you use your hand, you can still spray your mucus and your, I keep thinking venom. Only I have venom. Everybody else has saliva. They spray their saliva up to 16 feet. Okay? And that's using your hand to cover your mouth. Now, you actually have a better chance of not spreading it by coughing straight at the ground than covering it with your hand. Okay, they said covering it with your hand kind of disperses it all over the place. The other thing that I want you guys to really think about is if you're going out to eat or if you're getting any type of foods that are prepared out in the public, okay, you need to remember this and remember it well. People that work in the food industry are not rich. They don't have a lot of money and most of them work paycheck to paycheck. Now, I know this kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but I want you to take this into consideration. If they're sick, they're more than likely, if they're hurting for money, going to show up at their job anyway. And they're going to be preparing your food. Now, if the incubation is indeed 2 weeks, which I really don't think it's 2 weeks, I think that the incubation period is 4 to 5 days on the outside. I've got a video that I posted on my Facebook page from another doctor that shows the original patients and exactly what the incubation period was. That plays a big part because most people, okay, by the time you get the symptoms of this illness, you're already contagious. Okay, they've already proven this. the fever does not stop the contagion like the flu. There's a lot of other factors that also play into this, but they said that the contagion, even though it is not as high as, say, smallpox or polio, it is way higher than the flu or, some of the other more common illnesses. Now, the one main thing that we're really kind of concerned about is the fact that this is correlating with the flu season, and there is a big chance that some form of influenza is going to mutate with this coronavirus. And that's one of the things that we're really trying to pay attention to right now, because if it mutates with swine flu, or pray to God it doesn't mutate with the bird flu. Okay, avian flu is one of the worst ones to get rid of, and it is almost neck and neck with the contagion of the coronavirus, so it could go through the roof overnight if it does in fact mutate. So, and this isn't stuff that you need to sit there and lose sleep over, because whatever happens is going to happen. The reason why I find this so fascinating is because just 100 years ago, 1918, we had an outbreak of influenza, the Spanish flu, that killed millions of people. And most of the reason why it killed so many people is because they didn't understand the nature of the illness. And so, even though I don't have a medical background, I have, enough that I can understand a lot of the pathogens and a lot of the traits that follow this type of an illness, and to go in and look at genetic markers and to try to track down exactly who's responsible for this. The Chinese have been saying that it was us, and even though, yes, some of the primary characteristics of this virus we do have background for in our biological testing. I use that term loosely. Some of the basic genetic forms are in this signature. So it's been expanded on greatly, though, and it's been weaponized. There's been several YouTube channels that have been taken down, including one called Zero Hedge. They went in depth with this same subject, even the HIV aspect. They were taken down immediately, and we're talking about a channel that has almost 1 million subscribers. So, not a small channel, it was a big channel. And they only really cover financial topics. This one was not financial, and this took them down completely. They're off of everything, all the platforms they're taken off of. So, they're trying to hide this, guys. They're trying to hide it real good.
Just keep up with the news. Don't listen to the regular news. Get online and pay attention to what they're doing. It's the best thing I can do. I will watch the regular news every so often, mostly for weather in my area. But as if for regular news about, what's going on nationally, I have a hard time with it.
Yep. Well, when you've got to put on your galoshes to watch the news so that you're not sinking in the crap, there's something wrong with that. The fact that you're depending on certain outlets to show you what's going on, and they're lying through their teeth because, well, we don't even know why. That's the whole thing. The only thing that this okay, And I know a lot of you guys have watched the Netflix stuff on Bill Gates and how he's all about depopulating the earth, and there's a lot of other things going on. Okay, this isn't our first go with this. They've been trying to depopulate for a long time, but there's a lot of things that are happening right now that people don't seem to realize are happening. Did you know that Japan is actually paying people to go out and date because their population is not enough to replenish the workforce? Most of the Japanese that are under 30 are virgins. They've never dated. The government is setting programs so that people go out and actually date because Japanese men are have given their lives to business. Their job is their life. And so they don't have any social lives. And lucky for them, especially in Japan, technology has provided them with sex robots and anime and all this other outlets for their sexual attention, which means that they have very little desire to go date or get married or have kids or any of that stuff. Their online lives are enough of a social outlet that they don't feel like they need to interact with real life. And if they do, it's because they're being forced to because of work. They're going out with their bosses after work for drinks or whatever. And the weird part about Japan is if your boss says, I want to go out and get drinks after work, you don't have a choice. You have to go. You actually can get fired if you don't go, because it's considered disrespecting your employer. Different type of work environment there.
Well, yeah, it's a very, I understand that. I haven't seen anything on this, but I believe it. And there's just a lot of things out there that we don't understand what's just going on until you get online and you start talking to individuals who actually live in those countries and their attitudes towards things. So, yeah. But, robot?
Yeah, well, that's one of the weird things is this documentary. This documentary that I watched, they kind of treated the subject when they first introduced the concept of sex bots. They kind of treated it like, this is a funny and whatever, but then all of a sudden the seriousness caught up because you can see that these guys are treating these inanimate objects like significant others. They're actually treating them like humans. This is their human interaction. This is broken. This is seriously broken. We're moving more and more towards this type of an environment to where we're going to be dealing with cyber presence instead of in real life. We're not going to be face to face anymore. It's going to be all cyber presence, and it's going to be that's going to be like that one movie. Can't believe I'm brain farting.
Westworld?
No, the
Westworld?
blue creatures that they.
Oh, you're talking about Spielberg's movie?
Yeah, with
It starts with A. Yeah. I believe it.
Avatar, that's the one.
Yeah.
To where I really think that we're not that far away from that, because it would be easier to have a human controlling a cyborg or a robot than it would an artificial intelligence program, because the human actually knows how to navigate through a real world where artificial intelligence constantly has to learn. So, I think we're closer to that reality than anything else, personally. We're already striving to get there with the computer implants that they're putting in people's heads so they can control computers. It's, yeah, that's just one step away from controlling robots. So, yeah, it's going to be to that point. Another movie, I can't remember, to where everybody's at home in their little chamber controlling their little avatars that are running around on the street, and nobody knows what that person actually looks like. They just interact with the avatar.
Yeah, I think I saw that movie, and they go into their house and they find it's a big fat guy.
Yeah.
Sweaty fat guy that's been laying there forever. And
Yep.
she was, the character he was playing was a beautiful woman.
Yep.
I was like, ooh, that would be scary. Hey, it's that time.
Oh, okay. Well.
Alright, you guys, I'm going to say goodbye. I have somebody that I have to get up and fix dinner for, and it's not Shawn. So he'll have to depend on his virtual microwave.
No, I actually don't. I have to rely on
Pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza, okay. We had pizza a couple days back. Anyway, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Remember, in your sleeve or in your shirt, wash your hands, take care of yourselves, and know that you're loved. Bye.
Alrighty, guys, as always, we love each and every one of you. You guys make sure to take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, we are out of here until next Saturday, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys take care of yourselves, be safe, be healthy, and we're out of here. Peace.